allegations of match fixing, transportation of heroin, blowing up bakeries, and the death of 10 key witnesses in a crucial court case, while still passing the owners and directors fit and proper person test in order to buy Nottingham Forest. Welcome to the world of Evangelos Marinakis. In 2017, billionaire Marinakis, a Greek shipping magnate and owner of Greek football giants Olympiakos, passed the English Football League owner and directors fit and proper person test and completed his takeover of two-time European champions Nottingham Forest for the princely sum of around 50 million quid. So far, so good. But I'm going to take you on a journey of the past of Marinakis and go some way to explaining why I called him football's answer to the Teflon Don in the title card. Now, as an aside, for those that don't know, Teflon Don was a nickname given to famous mafia boss John Gotti due to 3 high-profile cases he was involved in, leading to acquittals. Hence, nothing sticking to him / Teflon. I'm in no way comparing Marinakis to a mafia boss. Gary Neville tried that, and it didn't go down too well. So let's get into this. And we'll start in February 2011 with a shocking incident following a heated match between Olympiakos and their rivals Panathinaikos, where Olympiakos fans stormed the pitch and attacked Panathinaikos players, including Panathinaikos striker Gibril Cisse. Marinakis, who was president of Olympiakos and the Greek Super League at the time, got into a bit of a wrangle of words with Cisse, which culminated in Marinakis allegedly saying to Cisse, "I screwed you, enjoy it." Now, Marinakis would later claim that this phrase means something different in Greek. Now, after this incident, Cisse expressed his desire to leave the Greek league at the end of the season, which led Marinakis to coming out with a somewhat bizarre statement where he said, "We taught morals. I did not see him suffering, but wanting to leave Greece. If she wants to leave without skirts or blouses, she can." Now, this culminated in Cisse and Marinakis suing each other for multiple reasons, and in a drawn-out court case that, due to various postponements and the slow-moving nature of the Greek legal system, lasted about 5 years, and Marinakis was found not guilty. Now, there was a strange twist in this one as well, as Marinakis seemingly tried to get this settled out of court by inviting Cisse to a restaurant in Monaco for a chat. Cisse flat out denied that he had been invited, but he did say that he saw Marinakis at a restaurant in Monaco and went over to say hi. This just strikes me as odd. Why would you, if you were suing a man and they were suing you, go over to them in a restaurant to say hello? Bizarre. But let's move on. It's May 2013 and Olympiakos are playing in the Greek Cup final against Asteros Tripolis. The score at half-time is 1-1, but something's about to happen. According to referee Thanasis Iachios and his 5 assistants, Marinakis entered the dressing room at half-time, was not happy, and voiced his displeasure at the official's performance. Now, according to Hellenic Federation rules, nobody, especially the owner of one of the clubs involved in a match, is allowed to enter the referee's dressing room at any point. Now, interestingly, following on from this, Olympiakos went on to win the game 3-1 and secured a double that season. The referee was heavily criticised for his performance during the match, seemingly favouring Olympiakos with his decision-making. He was accused of failing to penalise an Olympiakos player with a red card, not awarding Asteros Tripolis a clear penalty, and ignoring a blatant handball by an Olympiakos player that stopped what would have probably been a goal for Asteros Tripolis. But here's what's interesting, or strange, or shady. Marinakis didn't deny that he went into the dressing room. However, his representative said that he merely popped in there to wish the referees good luck. Now, in my head, the only way I hear him say good luck is how the Albanian human trafficker says it in Taken.
Good luck.
But that's just in my head. Either way, we have instance number 2 of nothing sticking to Marinakis, because by 2015, he was acquitted of all charges. As an aside, Marinakis was accused again in 2018 of entering the ref's dressing room during a game between Burnley and Olympiakos in the Europa League. However, it was mysteriously never mentioned in the referee's match report. So moving on, or rather moving backwards to go forwards, to a scandal that was described by the Greek Deputy Culture Minister, Georgios Nikitiadis, as the darkest page in the history of Greek football. And if you know Greek football, that's quite a statement. The scandal was named Koriopolis by the Greek press, which was a pun based on the famous Italian football scandal Calciopoli and the Greek word Korios, which means bone tap. It all started in 2011 when European football's governing body UEFA handed a report to Greek authorities. The report cited irregular betting activities on 41 games dating between 2009 and 2010 that they felt were suspicious. The matches involved were primarily Greek Cup and Second Division games. Marinakis was implicated along with initially 67 others, although this number rose over time, including club officials, referees, players, and a chief of police. Now, offences in this scandal were numerous, including fraud, illegal gambling, extortion, and money laundering. A 130-page report outlining the scandal contains numerous transcripts of recorded telephone conversations filled with profanities and threats of violence, allegedly between corrupt team officials deciding match results using players and referees. Marinakis was initially implicated in relation to complicity to commit acts of bribery, match manipulation, and instigation and facilitation of acts of violence. A main event in this scandal alleged that Marinakis, Georgios Sakogiannis, the president of Second Division Lillipoli, and others conspired so that a hardcore group of Olympiakos fans would travel to a third division match and instigate a riot that would bring about a penalty in the game. The prosecutor's report said that Sakogiannis had made arrangements for the Olympiakos fans to cause these riots and that Evangelos Marinakis was aware of this. So how did this turn out for Marinakis? You guessed it. In April 2015, he was acquitted, but it didn't quite end there. The mayor of Volos and owner of Olympiakos Volou, who was one of the defendants in the trial, alleged that a deputy public prosecutor and one of the judges who decided who should be prosecuted had accepted bribes. He claimed that the purpose of the bribes paid for by a board member of Panathinaikos was to ensure that Marinakis would not be prosecuted. It really would appear that he is Teflon. Before we go on to the next bit of the Marinakis drama, if you're enjoying this content, please do consider subscribing. Thanks. Anyway, whilst all this has been going on, another storm has been brewing for the Olympiakos owner. During the time that the Koriopolis scandal that we've just mentioned had started, investigations into another scandal involving Marinakis had just begun, and it all started with a bakery. So here's what happened. It's February 2012. Petros Konstantineas, nicknamed Crazy Wolf, one of the most well-regarded referees in the Greek Super League, is about to have a life-changing event when the bakery that he owned in his hometown of Kalamata exploded. Now, whilst obviously devastated, he was also pretty pissed off and believed that he knew who was behind the attack. His version of events were as follows. A couple of days before he was due to referee a match between Xanthi and Olympiakos, he was approached by two men, and he said they insisted that Olympiakos had to win the game, and they threatened me. I've never been part of that system. I cannot be bought. After the explosion, I started fearing for my family. I had to send my children into hiding. I never expected it to get to that level. So, due to authorities receiving anonymous complaints about the bakery exploding and other reasons, the investigation began, which resulted in prosecutor Aristides Korias pressing charges against 16 individuals from football teams, the Greek Football Federation, and referees for offences including setting up, participating, and directing a criminal organisation, fraud, attempted criminal extortion, and corruption. all committed between 2011 and 2013. Marinakis specifically was accused of being involved in and directing a criminal organisation, aiding and abetting blackmailing, aiding and abetting explosion, aiding and abetting bribery, and fraud. And the crux of this investigation focused around George Saris, former president of the Greek Football Federation. Essentially, it was alleged that he and other members of the GFD and executives from Greek clubs met at a hotel to discuss Saris being re-elected, Marinakis taking a leading role in the GFD, and how they could put referees that they trust in charge of crucial games in order to further the group's interests. Now, Marinakis staunchly denied all charges, stating, "These allegations have nothing to do with me and have no effect on me whatsoever. There is not one shred of evidence against me." He was, however, officially questioned about the allegations in June of 2015 before being released on a €200,000 bail. The conditions of the bail also meant that he had to stop being involved in any football activity and that he had to report to the police station every 15 days. The prosecutor of the case then called for the imprisonment of Marinakis. How did Marinakis respond to this? By suing the prosecutor. Eventually, a court of appeal rejected the idea of imprisonment, and by 2017, all charges against Marinakis other than match fixing were dropped as they were deemed absolutely groundless. But that did leave the match fixing charge. And in 2019, the Supreme Civil and Criminal Court of Greece decided that Marinakis, along with 27 others, should stand trial for match fixing and the creation of a gang. However, by 2021, the Court of Appeal unanimously acquitted Marinakis and all of the 27 accused of all charges. I mean, is this just a case of Marinakis being in the wrong place at the wrong time constantly? Maybe. But anyway, the shitstorm doesn't end there. In March 2018, Marinakis finds himself at the centre of another scandal when the Greek public prosecutor accused him and 3 of his associates of financing and storing narcotic substances, setting up a criminal organisation, and transporting, trafficking and selling narcotic substances. This was after a 3-year-long investigation into the Nor 1, a tanker that was carrying over 2 tons of heroin before being intercepted at a port in Greece. According to the prosecutor, she believed that Marinakis was one of the money men financing the ship's journey, which was based on bank transfers linked to Marinakis. Now, Marinakis, of course, denied all involvement and went so far as saying, "The recent judicial action is a deliberate attempt at character assassination. The allegations are fabricated and without any foundation in law or fact." Now, the case gained steam all the way up until 2021, which, after the death of 10 witnesses related to the case, a judge declared that there was no evidence linking Marinakis, and therefore the investigation was concluded. However, due to legal wrangling within the Greek judicial system, the investigation was restarted and continues to this day. It's vitally important to keep in mind that whilst Marinakis has been accused of all the things we've gone through so far, it's worth remembering that he is part of Greek football. Now, if you don't know Greek football too well, it's kind of summed up by Ari Boulubassis, host of Olympiakos fan podcast Gate 7, when he said, "Greek football is about 100 times more toxic than anything the Premier League has probably ever seen." Now, sport and politics are so intrinsically linked in Greece that it allows for the insidious growth of corruption. And in stories like these, it's worth remembering that perhaps not everything is as clear-cut as it seems. Also, thank you to all of those that have liked, subscribed and commented. It really does mean everything. And a special thanks to one of our subscribers, Lil Baz, who recommended that I cover this story. If there are any other fascinating stories from the world of football that you want to see me cover, let me know in the comments. I'll see you on the next one.